Well, hi guys and gals, it's me, George, the Shade Tree Railroad Man. And I've been collecting some vehicles for my layout. And you can see I got a bunch of them lined up here, and I've got more in different places. But I wanted to illustrate something for you. This is HO scale. Now, a lot of us think of Johnny Lightning and Hot Wheels and what's the other brand name? Matchbox. Yeah, we think of those as being HO scale, but really they're not HO scale. They're 1/64th scale, and true HO scale, like as in model railroading, is 1/87th scale. So you can't very well just use Hot Wheels and stuff like that. However, it is cost more for a detailed real HO scale car than it does for a Johnny Lightning or any of those other brands. I just got this one here in the mail. This is a 55 Chevy, two-door sedan. And you can see how nicely detailed it is. Got the chrome trim all painted up on it. Not super detailed on the bottom, but it's a static display item, you know. But it looks pretty good. And you won't ever get to see it up that close when you're on my layout if you're standing here looking at it. So that is now right in front of a Johnny Lightning to give you a good idea of the comparison of sizes. In some of my past videos, I actually had that Johnny Lightning 55 Chevy on the layout. Whoa, let me back you up here. And this is very nicely detailed. And actually it's probably as well detailed, maybe even better. It's even got the script on the side there. Can you see that? You know? But it's overall it's about the same. But this probably costs normally costs around $4, I'm going to say, you know, for Johnny Lightning. But you can get Hot Wheels cars that are not quite this detailed, but pretty nice for less than $1, right? I got a good deal on this one. I paid $2 plus shipping, so it cost me about $6 altogether. But oftentimes these little models go for about $9 or $10 plus shipping. Here's one here. I think I paid $6 for this one. It's pretty nicely detailed, you know, and that's true HO scale. What I'm trying to do is, it's my intent to have things on my layout reflect 1960s and earlier, and mostly in the 50s on my layout, because I'm going to keep steam locomotives on it, and all of the diesels that I have are very early diesels and electric locomotives. But there is something that we can do to help with this problem. Now here is, I'm not sure what brand this is, probably a generic one. It says made in Hong Kong, and I don't know what brand it is, but it's smaller than a regular Hot Wheels. Now here's one here, right in front of it. And this one I think is a Hot Wheels. Nope, this one's a Matchbox, okay? But Matchbox and Hot Wheels are all made by the same people now, I think. But you can see the difference in size between them. So I keep my eyes open for little ones like this. Now let me slide over here. This is one truck I just recently purchased. And this is true HO scale, 1/87th scale, and it's pretty nicely detailed. I mean, this even has separate pieces underneath there, you know. This one's better than some. But you'll notice the size, and in comparison, it's very similar to this one and this one. What you'll find quite often, and this one, this is another made in China, no name brand. But you'll notice the size of the cabs and the box and the wheels are very similar. Here's another one. I'm not sure what brand this one is either. This one says made in Japan, Tomica. So this is another old one. And what I do is I look for these kinds of things, and this is just pieces of steel bar I got stuck in the back there for a load. I keep an eye out for these kind of things at yard sales and in thrift stores and stuff, you know, because you usually get them for like 25 cents a piece. And the size is just right for using with that. Now let me take you over and show you something else. Let me zoom you over here. I have a tractor trailer rig that I modified, and I did this quite a while ago now. And I'll walk over there and I'll pull it out a little bit. I'll pull them out from behind the hardware store so that you can see we have the Shade Tree Railroad logo on the box. I cleaned the box off, and I used, this is actually sticker paper that I made my logo on and glued it on the side of the box. And this truck is, well, this is another one of those generic ones. You know, it's not a Hot Wheels or something like that, but it's the right size to keep it in scale, you know. So I'm always keeping an eye out for those kind of things, because that makes it much nicer, and the price is right. You know what I'm saying? Now let me bring you down. Oh, you notice if I come back here. Woo! Come back here. This is one you buy at the Dollar General or Dollar Tree store. It's a generic, but it's a little bit too big. I bought them. Of course, I don't carry these things around in my pockets for sizing, but I thought maybe it would work because you could get, I think there was actually 3 pieces in the package for $1. And I'll show you some other pieces that came with it. Okay. I better move that paper towel out of the way. We're down here at the scrap yard now, and I've already done a video on making my own scrap loads. Yeah, using metal filings and stuff like that, and then putting some rusty colored washes on it, and just throwing all kinds of junk in there, and it makes it pretty realistic looking, I think. What do you think? But that's not the subject of this video. Subject of this video is HO scale vehicles. And here is a couple more of these generic, yep, made in China. A couple more of these generic trucks that are right in scale. And here's another tractor trailer rig. And these trucks here just happens to work out nicely to carry these big loads like that. Now you can see this one here is pretty close, and I could probably use that one, but the problem with these 2 trucks here is they're too new. You know what I'm saying? Too new. So they won't find their way onto the layout eventually. Here's a little fire truck, and this one is how can I read that? If I get it up close here. What's that say? Mitso? Something like that? Oh, but it also says Tonka 2004 Hasbro. Okay. But it's, oftentimes the cars are bigger and the trucks, because they're made to fit in the same packages, are smaller, and they actually end up being like 1/87th scale. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing goes, let me slide you over here, goes with these kinds of trucks. You know, here's another fire truck. It won't end up on the lot because it's, yeah, it's too new. Here's a Tonka SWAT truck, and it won't end up on the layout because it's too new. But check out this road grader. And I don't know what brand it is, but it's about the right scale. And don't worry about those wheels leaning, because that's the way the real ones work. Let me see if I can see a brand name on this. This is Mitso as well. So that will work well, and these are pretty much have stayed the same for, you know, 30, 40 years. And the same thing with these kinds of bulldozers. Yep, this would be a big, big bulldozer in comparison to that. And this truck here, this is actually probably from like the 80s, I'm guessing. But it's good scale because it's small. And I have this one here. I really, really would like to keep this one on the layout. This one's Ertl, and this is a garbage disposal. And this thing here slides down so you can pick up your dumpster, you know, and dump it right in the back. Yeah, I kind of like that one. Now, let me take you over and show you some more stuff. I was telling you about the stuff from the dollar store. And like I said, I pick up a lot of these kind of things at yard sales when I go. I haven't been to a lot of yard sales in the last couple of years. Whoop! But thrift stores and things like that. Yep. Well, here's a couple of those vehicles. I think this came in the same package with that cement mixer I showed you. And I've done some weathering on this one. Actually, I sprayed some of that same black wash on this just to tone it down. It's more modern. You see how it's rounded over there. But it works. You know, it works. And this one here is kind of modern, but we can make that work. And this bulldozer, it's missing some pieces, but it's the right size to use in a scrap yard. And this big articulated bucket loader, it will work. It's missing the bucket off of it, so I have a big spool mounted on it. It's not mounted, it's actually just sitting there in front of it. But when it's in place. And then we have this dooflicky here, this crane. These could, this probably won't work because it's not old enough. But you know, if I don't tell anybody, they won't know. But look at these. These are more. This one here. This is another Tomica from Japan. And this one here, this is a Yacht Ming. Don't know where I found that. Probably at a yard sale. Here's another neat truck. And it's an older one, you know. It's probably from the 60s. But it needs a set of front wheels. So I'll probably scavenge some wheels off of one of the newer ones. Or maybe even off of this. This is another one of these kind of things. Like this one here. See that? Very similar to it. But a little bit different on the back, but it's missing the crane off of it. But they're all good for parts. And of course this is a scrap yard, you know, and a junk yard. So we got some old beat up ones over here. And this one, yeah, this is another Yacht Ming. And who knows what this one is. This is a Corgi Jr. And here's a oldie. This is really a nice one. I may have to find another set of tracks to put on here. Take it off of one of my other ones, because this really is an oldie. And this one's Ertl, actually, but it's very close to being the 1/87th scale. You know, and on we go. All right, so now let me take you down here to the sand and gravel pit. Now, we're at the sand and gravel, and let me get you set up. And here's a bucket loader like the one you saw back at the scrapyard before they get cleaned up. And because it's at a sand pit, and I haven't finished off, this is all going to have sand on here to make it look like a sandbank that's being excavated away, it'll work. And this place also needs these big kinds of dump trucks, you know, like that. And then right up above here is our coaling station, part of it anyway. And I have another one of these bucket loaders, like that. I may end up taking some of the parts off of these to put on those tracked graders. And you look over here, let me bring this over here. He's probably a little out of size, but they make bigger ones of these, but I don't know if they made them back into the 60s or not, you know. And like I said, there's usually 2 or 3 pieces in each one of those packages that you get at the Dollar Tree. So I got 3 of these, and again, they're probably too new for my layout, but we'll see. And then we have another skid steer down here, and we got a couple of rollers down there. One is an older vintage one and one is a newer one. But if you don't tell, maybe I won't tell, and we'll be able to use them. You know what I'm saying? So I thought you might find that interesting, and keep your eyes open. You can get some of these things and you can restore these vehicles, you know, and make them work. Even though they're not the high dollar items, you don't want to have to pay 10 bucks a piece for all of your vehicles that you buy. You know what I'm saying? So keep your eyes open, and maybe you can find some that will do the job for you. So until next time, oh, you're wondering what this Morton salt thing is here. I'm not sure if that's going to become well, I have the sanding tower right here, but I'm not sure if this might become a water tower or something like that. Or maybe I should just keep it as a salt bin, just like it is. My tripod's starting to fall over. Maybe I should just keep it as a salt bin. And I don't know. Always something to tinker around with. So anyway, I won't bother you anymore. Till next time, this is George saying keep your eyes open, because you never know what you can find to make good deals, to make your layout look more realistic. Yeah, look at the coal mine, and look at that old truck. That's a really old vintage truck. Found it in a thrift store. Thanks for watching, for commenting, and subscribing. Till next time, this is George saying bye now.